Hello everyone and welcome to Lap of the World. I'm Richard.
I'm Liz, and this is our 1992 Acura NSX.
This car has done laps of 24 different racetracks to date, currently has over 290,000 miles on it.
And we plan to add about 6,000 more in the next 2 weeks as we travel from Knoxville, Tennessee to Portland, Oregon for NS Expo 2021.
So come along for the ride as we cross the country and join 100 or so other owners in celebrating a belated 30th anniversary of all things NSX.
Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Liz, that's Richard, and this is Lap of the World.
Welcome to day 3 of our daily vlog series we're doing on our travels from Tennessee to Oregon for NS Expo 2021.
So we just left our overnight stay in Kearney, Nebraska.
Sure.
And we are headed to Wyoming.
Yeah, so I have to take back a little bit of what I said about Kansas being flatter than Nebraska. I think Nebraska must have heard that, and thus far western Nebraska has kind of said, hold my corn, you haven't seen anything flat yet.
It's a little greener. It's a little bit greener, but I'll give it that. That's about all I can give it.
Yeah, I think we did find a hill at some point, but that is what we were doing. We were back on the road this morning. I've had my Pop-Tarts, Liz has had a granola bar, and we are now headed out. She's going to drive for a little while, and I don't know, maybe I'll take a nap or something.
Per usual, I talk to him when he drives, he sleeps when I drive. So help me find my headphones before you go to sleep.
All right, we'll pick you guys up probably after lunch.
Richard, we're here.
I'm sorry,
We're here.
where is here?
Well, you fell asleep, and I get bored, and so we're at the Golden Spike Tower. It's the largest Union Pacific.
That is a tower.
It's the largest Union Pacific Railway yard in the country, or maybe the world. I don't know. But we can watch trains.
I mean, we're here, we may as well. Back on the road, that was unexpected, but actually very interesting.
You're welcome.
We ended up learning lots of stuff, how they classify railroad cars, basically how they sort the cars into their individual trains to go different places.
And we actually confirmed that the Bailey classification yard is the largest railway yard in the world.
Largest one in the world. And we also learned that although most of the scenery that we've been going past in middle Nebraska, central Nebraska, looks kind of like this, we learned that in fact the entire state is more or less a hill, averaging about a 6 foot per mile elevation gain as you head west. And indeed, we checked this out, and from our overnight stop in Kearney to North Platte, where the railway yard was located, we'd already gained 300 feet. So
we can thank Gary, the retired railway worker that was there, with that little bit of information.
Yeah, that was an awesome stop. Even if you're not a train nerd, I guess I would call myself a casual enthusiast of most kinds of large machine, because I don't know, whatever, technical brain, but
you like motor.
But no, it was an interesting stop, so I could definitely recommend it. The tower itself was very Very well kept, clean. Staff was super friendly. So if you happen to be passing through on I-80, give it a spirit of thought, I guess. But for now, we are going to get back on the road. Liz is still holding up as our chauffeur for the moment.
Yep.
And we are headed towards Wyoming. So,
well, if you stay awake, then I'll keep driving. If not, then, there's potential that we may stop at the prairie prison that I also found down the road, so.
Right, so I think I am fully awake, but I've been threatened with prairie jail if I'm not. So anyway, on to Wyoming. We'll pick you guys up for dinner.
Well, I know we said dinner, but there was a huge snarl on the interstate, and we ended up taking a big bypass. Really, it's a loop on Highway 30 from Laramie to a little bit past some small town named Hannah. But it's very pretty.
Yeah, no, if you wanted to ever drive through somewhere, it goes as a byway. This is out in like ranch country, so it feels very Western in the kind of stereotypical manner, but in a good way. It's like super scenic. There's a lot less versus I-80. There's a lot less industry kind of close to the road, although it is going through the middle of more. I mean, I think this is probably the definition of middle of nowhere. So make sure you've filled up before you take this detour. But it gave us some time, and in addition to looking at the scenery, we did remember that a few people have asked us about gas mileage. So we did some logging between the last two gas stops, and Liz just did some math, and we have averaged, what did we average, Liz?
So overall, we averaged just under 26 miles a gallon.
Yeah, which is pretty good for maintaining. I think you're 75 mile an hour-ish. I think we got into the 80 mile an hour speed limit area in Wyoming there for a little bit. So it's maintaining a pretty decent clip for an interstate in the U.S. anyway. No Autobahns here, but yeah. So that answers that question. A little over 26. That's highway, kind of headed slowly uphill toward from east to west. But we'll update that maybe later as we get into more mixed driving.
Yeah, I was going to say, so we are going to just keep driving on our little bypass. We're about to rejoin 80 again, and for real this time, we'll pick you back up at dinner.
Well, we made it to the hotel. We didn't regret the rest of our detour, and it was pretty smooth sailing after that. Although I can't really say the same for people in the eastbound lanes of I-80.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, hopefully everybody's okay. We haven't seen anything on the news, but it looked like a truck jackknifed on there, and the eastbound travelers were stuck. I mean, people were outside of their cars, just walking around.
Dead stop.
Yeah.
Probably there for...
they were there for quite some time. Enough time that people got out of their car, and enough time that people decided to take it into their own hands and off-road it.
Yeah, so we started, we knew something was probably particularly bad when we started to notice a line of cars coming down this, like, cattle road is the best way I could describe it, Jeep trail or something, on the opposite side.
Barely a trail.
Yeah, I mean, there were like two ruts, right, that might have constituted a road at some point or a path at some point, but there were a lot of vehicles on there that had no business being on that kind of trail.
Several minivans. We figured there were probably some
a
yelling
Prius
wives
in there somewhere,
and crying children. I don't know what was happening.
And some brave soul took an entire semi-truck out there, and it was just like rocking and rolling and everything. Oh, man, it was crazy.
But it was behind barbed wire. I mean, that looked like it was private property.
We don't know what that was. I'd be curious to look it up on once we've got better internet somewhere, look it up on a map and see exactly what that was like. Is there like do any map apps actually suggest that? I can't imagine they do.
I don't think so. Our guess, because looking at the entrance, we finally saw where people were getting on. It was a ways back, and realistically, I think that some local did it, and then somebody in their minivan was like, "Hold my beer, we're doing it. It's a shortcut, honey."
Right, and then the kids all threw up. And, Why?
just-
Spouses were yelling at each other. Anyway.
So that wasn't us.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't
was
us.
Smooth sailing.
We made it here, and it is now the time in the video that you probably have all been looking forward to. Liz, what's for dinner?
Tonight we are having Alpine Fare, or Alpine Air, not fair, Alpine Air, Kung Pao beef,
Yeah.
which is very hot.
Where is this?
This is
Part of the USA. Where is it? Does it say where it's from?
California.
Okay, California. We had Oregon last night.
Yep.
California. We have a bonus round on top of
We
that.
do.
Though. Would you like to tell them what we're going to what to look forward to afterwards?
We have dessert. So for dessert, we have Backpacker's Pantry dark chocolate cheesecake mix.
Out of Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah. So we figured we deserved it after
Yeah,
watching so many people off-road.
Well, this was one of our longer driving days, so we
I'm
figured.
gonna go ahead and pour it while you.
You know, by all means, was one of our longer driving days. So we got in here. I mean, local time, it's only 7 o'clock or so, but East Coast time, we're not quite acclimated yet, so we're a bit later than usual dinner time for us. But
I'm just gonna pour it out because I can't tell, and then I will separate. So that's your portion. This is my portion.
So this is what happens when she gets hungry, and then we don't. It's okay. Here, let's just we'll figure the logistics out here in a second. Let's just take a bite
Okay.
and see what we think of it.
All right, you gotta cheers me.
Sure. Cheers.
I'll shoot it back. Sorry.
Okay. A little kick to it.
I like the kick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I love the beef.
Yeah. All right. So we'll give it a rating and then we can talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So on 3, 2, 1.
I was 3.5 is where I was headed, but I can't.
No, I'm giving it a level 3. I don't think I would pick this over either of the other two that we've had so far.
So
It's not bad.
okay,
It's not bad. Would I eat this
I've got
even right now? Would I eat it again? Sure, but
I've got slight. I'm trying to keep it out, but we have had the chicken version of this
Mhm.
as a test, and it was good.
yeah.
So that's what I'm like in my head. I'm like, but I like the kung pao because I like that it's spicy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But this is definitely not as good. And frankly, this was a lot harder. That what you didn't see is it required us heating it back up again and
Yeah.
doing like the rice just didn't.
Probably 20 minutes of shenanigans
Yeah,
because whatever
which-
we're debating it may be an altitude thing, but we're only at like 6,000 or 7,000 feet.
Yeah.
And at least I'm not sure this one didn't specify, but one of the other ones specified that its design, its baseline is 5,000 feet.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure, but so I could agree with you on a 3 if we ended up on a shootout for another one for 3, we could give it 3.25, which is
3.25.
yeah 3.25, which is the in between of us. So,
Okay, well, so that's what we have for this. So we're going to finish up this, and then we'll come back to you guys and get pick up dessert here in just a second. Like, now, your time. All right, we're back for dessert.
Yep.
So our dark chocolate cheesecake mix.
It did get a little messy, just because our spoons aren't quite as long, and so I did have. Luckily, we are not backpacking, and I was able to wash my hands because I definitely had chocolate all over my hands just from trying to get it out of the bag.
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
you can see it on my spoon.
Like full on, like
My spoon.
toddler eating a Hershey's bar
Yes.
level. Anyway, it looks it smells good. It smells legit.
I'm gonna say I don't know if we can. Here you go. Like there are cookie bits that go in there. Let's see if it can.
Oh no! Now you're just way under focused.
Hang on, I can do this. Just boop it. There you go. Cookie bits.
Cookie bits.
Okay. It's important. This is important.
Understand what it looks like.
So,
All right.
All right. Well, let's try this, and then we can talk a little bit about kung pao.
Yes.
think we have to rate it
No.
because you can't compare this to like,
Yeah, a normal meal.
Yeah.
But no, I would say if I was comparing it to something in the real world, it would be almost like a lightweight cake batter.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
In a good way.
The only thing I think for me, which Richard would not let me do, if it was a little colder, I probably would enjoy it more. He wouldn't let me put it in the fridge. He's so mean.
I'm trying to follow the directions, and I was like, okay, no, if we put it in the fridge while it's like setting up, it's going to take longer to set up, and I'm still hungry. So, that's where we're at.
But this is pretty much
Anyhow,
everything we do. You're trying to follow the direction, and I'm trying to go off.
into the story with the dark chocolate cheesecake mix by Backpacker's Pantry, I think I would give it a thumbs up.
I would eat it again. I don't think it's something that I would be like, you know what we should go get? Backpacker's
Yeah, I don't
Pantry.
think we're going to like sneaking out to the store to like buy this on the sly to eat.
No, I think I would
but-
really like some dark chocolate cheesecake.
Yeah, actual dark chocolate cheesecake would be
Yes.
better,
But again, I mean, for
considering what it is,
considering
and it would
what it
probably, if you'd been actual backpacking and been eating out of bags for days, it would probably taste amazing. So,
agreed.
but anyhow,
So-
we had some final thoughts on Kung
Yeah.
Pao before we wrap up.
Yeah, so I think the big part that we talked about was, so I mentioned the fact that we had the chicken kung pao before,
Mm-hmm.
and that I like that better. And so we've talked a little bit about that, and we think part of it could be when we tried that, I mean, I did boil the water in a kettle on the stove, so we had legitimately boiling water that we used to put in there,
Yeah.
versus doing it this way.
Probably almost boiling water.
Well, potentially,
Mhm.
but I think it could, it's probably getting close,
Yeah.
but not there.
Yeah, so might have missed a few degrees,
Well, so I think
which would have
some
let
of
us
them,
let it or let it steam longer at altitude.
So I think some of them, like let's say the first night, the tad pie. I don't know why I wanted to say that. The pad thai that we had,
Mhm.
I think it was okay with the like below boiling water.
Yeah.
It was fine, but I think with particularly this brand, maybe with this rice,
Yeah.
it needs like
Legitimately for real boiling
for real
water, not
boiling
just
water.
hot.
yeah.
So, but anyway, lesson learned there, and a grain of salt with our ratings as always. But yeah, I think we're gonna finish our dessert and turn in for the evening.
And and Richard's gonna turn the bag inside out, licking it before.
Probably, as you do. But
All
anyhow, anyway,
But we're going to turn in, and we will see you guys on the road tomorrow, where we are headed towards Idaho.
yep. So we are done with the flat portion of our trip, and we are well into the hills at this point, where we are in Wyoming, and we should have some interesting mountainous scenery where we're going through, I think, Utah first, and then up to Idaho, where we'll finish out
A
tomorrow.
little bit shorter of a day, which is, that was the goal. It starts
Yeah.
tapering down as we get closer.
Yeah, get the hard work done in the front and kind of leisurely stroll into where we're going to end up for NS Expo. But
So,
anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you tomorrow.